Joshua gets his 24th knockout, and boy, did he make it look easy.
Hey Ringsiders, what's going on? This is your host, Boxing's Objective Observer, and welcome back to Ringside Stories. Feel free to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that notification bell for the latest here on Ringside Stories. Thanks so much for your support in advance, and welcome to the channel. Anthony Joshua stops Otto Wallin in the 5th round in what was a one-sided affair. Is the old AJ back? Let's talk about it. Now, to me, Anthony Joshua had issues with his psychology and his confidence, as I stated in the preview. I predicted that Joshua would have a harder night work than he turned out to have because of his confidence that seemed to have been shot after the first Andy Ruiz Jr. fight. But this was a pleasant surprise because the Anthony Joshua that we saw on Saturday, December 23rd, 2023 is a much more effective, welcoming addition to the current heavyweight division. Let's talk about 5 takeaways from the Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin fight. Number 1, redemption. Coming off 2 Usyk losses, Anthony Joshua came back in 2023 with a less than stellar performance against the awkward Jermaine Franklin and a KO win over Robert Helenius, who came in almost literally last minute, which didn't turn heads. As AJ seemed to struggle a little bit, got hit more than expected against Helenius, and showed a lot of hesitation against an older, slower veteran in Robert Helenius. But on the 23rd of December 2023, on the day of reckoning, Anthony Joshua finally showed up, closing the year off in a way that was reminiscent of the quote-unquote old AJ, facing an awkward fighter known for his ring IQ, boxing skill, and toughness, who entered the AJ fight with momentum and confidence as Otto Wallin came off his career best win in his pro career so far, a split decision win over former unified cruiserweight world champion Murat Gassiev. Wallin, who up until this point only had lost against Tyson Fury, gave the Gypsy King a run for his money in a competitive fight back in 2019. Before the AJ fight, Otto Wallin showcased his confidence, yet in the ring, Anthony Joshua was all business, laser focused, and ready to put on a demolition job that he promised.
December 23rd, I'll deliver that message, and my first stop to that in getting in the rankings is putting on a demolishing job against Otto Wallin.
Finishing 2023 in fashion, somehow silencing his critics. Number 2, the old AJ. Talk about AJ's performance and you'll talk about everything that seemed to be missing in the first 2 fights in this year and what has been missing ever since the Andy Ruiz Jr. loss. The rematch against Andy Ruiz Jr. marked a more safety-first approach, which was a bit of a thorn in the eyes for fans, as Anthony Joshua had set the world on fire for being an exciting boxer-puncher, operating with fast combinations, power punches at mid-range. Against Otto Wallin, Anthony Joshua showcased his full array of offensive arsenal: a stiff jab, a power lead right hand, power combination punching, showing how to fight a southpaw in a way reminiscent of AJ's first world title fight against then undefeated Charles Martin. AJ, who in preparation for that fight sparred many rounds with a certain Otto Wallin. And so what I didn't take into consideration so much was that Anthony Joshua did know Otto Wallin very well, because not only did he spar Wallin many rounds, he also has faced Otto Wallin in the amateurs twice. It must be said, he fought a fighter who he was familiar with. But on December 23rd, 2023, Anthony Joshua looked methodical, patient, and very fluid, with foot feints, shown excellent control of distance, speed, explosivity, and broken rhythm. Wasn't hesitant, he came to fight and to prove a point.
Let's not say Otto because he's a true warrior. I think the corner play a big role in what happens to their fighter so he can live to fight another day. I'm sure he would have carried on, but I'm just a gifted fighter that has a special gift and I use it to my best ability. If it works, and today it was just my day, thank God. I'm actually searching for greatness, trying to improve, and Ben Davison is a really good addition to my improvement.
Number 3, Ben Davison In the past, I've been critical on trainer Ben Davison for his work with Josh Taylor and Tyson Fury because as a boxing fan, I concluded Davison wasn't getting the full potential out of those fighters. The best trainer isn't crowned by public opinion, rather he's measured by giving the fighter what he needs. At the end of the day, being the best trainer in the world is subjective anyway. Some fighters like Tyson Fury are intuitive by nature, able to apply his training when it matters most, and able to switch up styles and strategy if need be, even during the fight. Unlike the Gypsy King, Anthony Joshua works differently. He comes across as someone who has a ton of questions that seem irrelevant for the intuitive fighter, someone who needs a clear path towards a clear destination. So in that sense, Ben Davison might be that guy. And say what you want, but Ben Davison does know his boxing. He has a sharp mind, is technical and highly analytical, and seems to be a great and effective communicator. So I'm sure he'll give AJ much more to work with than some of Joshua's previous coaches like Robert Garcia and Derek James, who, yes, were both crowned Coach of the Year, but are better suited for intuitive fighters. I mean, sure, Joshua was familiar with Otto Wallin. However, in his previous 2 fights in 2023 under Derek James, AJ did deal with psychological and confidence issues, which resulted in a timid, safety-first approach, reluctant to pull the trigger, seemingly dealing with some quote-unquote demons that AJ had not yet slain. Now, in his first fight with Ben Davison, Anthony Joshua seemed way more relaxed, way more sophisticated, much more switched on, and more effectively dangerous. Does this mean AJ will continue with Ben Davison? Leave your comments in the comment section below, Ringsiders. Who do you think AJ should have as his trainer moving forward? Number 4, you sow what you reap.
It's the closest that has ever been in history right now. I'm excited to say that for that most part.
Deontay Wilder was speaking on Anthony Joshua at the presser.
It's good to be in the same room with him, to see him face to face, you know. It's been a long time coming. I wish you nothing but the best, bro. And hopefully soon we can get it on in the ring and give the people what they want once and for all. But I wish you nothing but the best.
Yet after the presser, Deontay Wilder's approach seemed to alter in the weeks leading up to the day of reckoning.
I mean, I've always thought Joshua was mentally weak. This is not just started. You know what I mean? If you go back in my previous interviews and hear me talk about Joshua, I've always thought he had a very weak mentality.
In my eyes, you got one fighter that really wants it, and then on the other side, you got another fighter that don't want it equally as bad as the other.
Wilder was distracted, as he admitted himself in the Wilder versus Parker post-fight interview.
There was a lot of talk during the week about you and Anthony Joshua. Was that in any way a distraction for you coming into this fight?
Just a little bit, you know, it's a lot of talk.
Similarly to how Anthony Joshua was before what would later be the Andy Ruiz 1 fight, chasing both Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, failing to keep his eye on his last-minute replacement Andy Ruiz Jr., ending up taking his first O. Anthony Joshua got a lot of flag for not being focused on the task at hand and being distracted to chase after fighters who didn't give him the time of day. 4 years later, in a similar situation, Deontay Wilder lost when the Joshua versus Wilder fight apparently was already signed for March 2024.
It's been spoke for 5 years.
We're still going to talk about Deontay Wilder.
And where Wilder was distracted, having been out of the ring for quite some time, explaining why his timing was off, looking uncharacteristically gun-shy, as if Father Time has caught up with him, understandably looking past his best. Anthony Joshua produced the goods on the night, and the Bronze Bomber didn't. The question is, will the fight that has been brewing for so many years even take place at this moment?
Dante, everything that he said about me, I could rip him apart right now, but I'm going to take the higher ground, and I hope he comes back. And if he wants, he can come back and he can fight another day, and it's up to him. I'm sure everyone still wants to see that fight, right? Or do they want to see me fight?
Joshua still wants the Wilder fight. The question is, does Deontay Wilder? And most importantly, do you, Ringsiders, want to see Joshua and Wilder lock horns anytime soon. Number 5. Next for Anthony Joshua. The win over Otto Wallin launches Anthony Joshua back into the world title picture, maybe even as soon as 2024. But who should Anthony Joshua fight next? Well, you have WBO interim world titleist Zhilei Zhang. The hulking 6'6" Chinese heavyweight just scored the biggest wins of his career by stopping top contender Joe Joyce back-to-back. Known as Big Bang, Zhang possesses thudding power that could trouble anyone. At 40 years old, however, he is looking to cash in on his WBO interim status. A Joshua Zhang fight would promise fireworks given both men's power and aggressive fighting styles, and a possibility to host this fight in China or even in Macau. Filip Hrgovic, the IBF mandatory challenger, presents an intriguing stylistic matchup for Anthony Joshua. The 31-year-old Croatian is a technical boxer with good power who also proved his durability and granite chin against the aforementioned Zhilei Zhang. Filip Hrgovic has yet to taste defeat in his professional career, with a record of 17 wins with 14 wins by way of stoppage. With 2 wins under his belt in 2023 over undefeated Australian southpaw Dempsey McKean, and a first-round knockout over yet another Australian Mark Demori on the Joshua vs. Wallin undercard, Joshua vs. Hrgovic could be for the vacant IBF belt and would surely be a close chess match with stretches of explosivity in between. Joseph Parker. Now, Joshua already has a decision win over Parker back in 2018 when both undefeated world champions met for a world title unification match, which didn't really pan out as boxing fans would like to see. But the New Zealander has found new life after dominating Deontay Wilder as the chief support for Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Still only at 31 years of age, Parker is likely entering in his prime or his second phase in his career and seems hungry to avenge his loss to AJ. AJ versus Parker back in 2018 was far from competitive, but now the tides have turned 5 years later, and so a rematch will have higher stakes, especially since Parker scored a win over highly ranked Deontay Wilder. And this version of Joseph Parker may prove a more methodical, complicated puzzle to solve for Anthony Joshua. We know that Joseph Parker is a boxer-puncher who can fight on the inside, has shown a good gas tank, and possesses fast hands. But who do you like to see Anthony Joshua fight next, and what did you make of Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin? Leave your comments in the comment section below and join the conversation. If you enjoy content like this and you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that notification bell for the latest here on Ringside Stories. Thanks so much for your support in advance, and welcome to the channel. Now, if you've done that already, you're amazing. We already know that you're the true undisputed world champion. Till next time, Ringsiders, this is your host, Boxing's Objective Observer, with the Ringside Stories. Thanks for watching, and have a legendary day.